All right. What I'm trying to illustrate here is that you, me, 90% of the population is under control. We are supposedly free in this country, the United States of America, but what's really happening is we're under control 24/7 every single day of our lives. And when you go behind the scenes of who's controlling, who is doing the controlling, man, you're going to find some nefarious individuals. A lot of people like to talk about Illuminati, Masons, conspiracies, these type of things, government operatives. And when you get to the bottom of it, when you really start looking at who's doing it, it's the ultimate conspiracy. It is the ultimate conspiracy because, first off, it's been going on for 40,000 plus years, way deeper than the Illuminati. The Illuminati was discovered in the 1700s. This group of people that are controlling the world, that control the Illuminati, they control every government, that control every bit of your money system on the planet. This group goes back 40,000 years. And they move through society, they move through the population secretly. And when they're in the open, they lie. I mean, they are absolutely the biggest liars ever seen on the planet. I mean, they just lie constantly. Everything they say is a lie. And one of the lies that they tell you in America is you're free. You're living in a free world. You can do whatever you want. But if you look at how you live in this country, you're not free. Nobody in this country is really free. Now, in order to understand the people that are behind the operation of control, which, like I said, they're removed sixfold. They have, you ever heard 6 degrees of separation? They're removed from you. You will never talk to them. You will never know who they are. They won't speak to you if you do get a chance to talk to them or at them. They won't say a word to you. And if they do, they're going to lie because they know all they have to do is just get away from you and then they're done. So they may have to, hear some chirping in their ear, but that's it. Then they go back to where they live, which is usually a large place, comfortable, and they go back to eating their steak or whatever they want to eat. And you keep living your life in slavery. They know you're never going to get out of slavery. They created the maze for you to be in. The maze of life, the rat race of life, was created for you by them. Now, who are they? How could you ever find out who they are? They've taken so many different names throughout history, 40,000 years of history. You're never going to find them out, like I said. So if you, in your mind, can at least put them in a group, there's an idea that was going around, or is still going around. It's called the 1%. How 1% of the population has 99% of the wealth. This is totally provable. 100% provable. Easily provable. But there's people behind those people, the 0.00001%. That's who's controlling the world. And when you look at the total number, it's about 10%. It's about 10% of the population is controlling 90%. Now, out of that 10%, not everybody's getting over. Not everybody's living in a multi-billion-dollar lifestyle. That's the 0.00001%. And by the way, they're not on Forbes' list. They'll never be on Forbes' list. Okay? So, in the 10% that's ruling you, there are police. They're not making, $1 million a year, but some of them do make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, by the way. Politicians are in the 10% that are controlling you. Attorneys, lawyers are in the 10% that are controlling you. Bodyguards are in the 10% that are controlling you. Security forces are in the 10% that's controlling you. But the real core of this group is what I call the Black Death cult. They worship violence and they worship death. And you are subject to their violence and their death 24/7. You, me, anybody who's not in that 10%. In other words, when you're a prosecutor, you're not going to suffer any violence from a cop because you're controlling the cop. The cop's not going to suffer any violence from other cops because they're all behind the thin blue line. They're all buddies. They all watch out for each other. The Black Death cult, that's what they do. They watch out for each other. They protect each other. Every now and then you'll see somebody thrown to the wolves. But it's very rare. Very, very rare. So I'm going to illustrate some of my points about the Black Death cult and the control they have over you, me, and almost everybody else on the planet through things that are happening right now in front of you. And one of these things is you're being quarantined. You're being told where you can and cannot go using power. Now in San Francisco, they had a stay home except for essential needs. Okay? Now, the problem is, and they have it in multiple languages so the people in San Francisco can read it. The problem is, what are essential needs? Who decides what your essential needs are? Here we get back to freedom. You would think in this country, because we're free, we can decide what our essential needs are. And essential needs vary from person to person. So we, as free people, we get to decide our essential needs, right? Wrong. Wrong. Absolutely wrong. You don't get to decide your essential needs. The key word here is essential. Notice it says here, activities that officials consider essential. Not you. You don't get to decide what's essential. You don't get to decide what you're going to do. The officials. See, that's the 10% I'm talking about that's controlling you. Now, how do officials, here's an example of an official telling a citizen, let's make this clear. You don't make the conditions here, I do. Okay, meaning I'm in control. Not you, the citizen. Me, the official. This official happens to be a county prosecutor or a city prosecutor. He's a lawyer for the state. He's a lawyer for the city. He's a lawyer for the county. I'm not sure exactly which one, but he's a prosecutor. Okay? He's in the top 10% that's controlling you. And let's make this clear. You don't make the conditions here. I do. Now, how does this guy make conditions? How does a prosecutor do it? How does an official set your conditions? How does an official consider what's essential? How does he make that decision for you? How does the governor of the whole state, right here, this guy, how does he decide what to do for you? He decides using violence. It's violent. This is a violent individual. This guy right here is a violent individual. He's just not directly violencing you. He's going to use the cops to violence you. He's going to use the cops to violence you. He's not going to do it himself. He's going to use the cops to violence you. Right here, these guys. He's going to use these guys to violence you. This guy is not going to violence you. He's going to use the cops. He's a violent individual. Listen, I make the conditions. You don't. Now, why doesn't this guy, the citizen, make the conditions? You're free, right? Why can't you make conditions? Because you're not willing, and you don't have a force that's violent. If you're not willing to use violence, which most people aren't, most people are not violent individuals. Think about it. Most people don't want to jump up and throw this guy in a chokehold. But guess what? This guy wants you in a chokehold. He's just not going to do it himself. He's going to get this guy to put you in a chokehold. That's all. And you, as a citizen, you can't call on this guy to put the prosecutor in a chokehold. Like I said, they watch out for each other. They're protecting each other, not you. It's a lie when you have this idea of cops are here to protect you. They're not here to protect you. They don't protect you. They can't protect you. They're here to protect this guy who's making conditions for you to live by. He's there to protect these officials. Stay home. The people who are saying, stay home. That's who he's here to protect, and he's going to enforce that. Now, how do you know what to do? You know because they tell you. They tell you. This guy tells you, stay home. And if you don't, let me read it to you. The Illinois State Police Director, see, they have tons of that's what I'm saying. You can't narrow it down to one person and say, look, he's the cause of it. He's the guy. And then take him out. You can't do it because it's a network of individuals that's been developed over tens of thousands of years that watch out for each other. So you just take one out, the other guy comes up here. Take him out, next guy comes up. Take him out, next guy comes up. Take him out, next guy comes up. Take him. You can't do it. You can't stop these people. Nobody can stop these people. It's too late. They're in control of everything. Illinois State Police Director Brendan Kelly also reminded restaurant and bar owners of the consequences they face if they decide to violate the governor's order. So this guy tells you what to do, and if you don't listen, what happens? You get violenced. They take away. You could lose your business license, your liquor license, your operating permit, and face permanent closure. So you think you're free. You think, well, I'm in a free country. I can start a business. No, you can't. If this guy right here decides your business is not doing the right thing, he'll take you out. He won't give you a license. He won't allow you to operate. Now, if you don't get a license to operate your business and you start operating a business, let's say, just for instance, you have some cherries in your backyard on a cherry tree. So, you harvest the cherries and you decide you're going to make some wine out of the cherries, and then your buddies really like it. So you decide you're going to sell it. I'm going to sell some cherry wine. And you do that without this guy's approval. What happens? You get violence. You have to go to that guy and you have to say, hey, look, I need your permission to sell cherry wine, right? I need a business license, a liquor license, an operating permit, right? And if this guy decides, well, look, you can't get it, or to get it, you owe me $5,000, and you go, well, I'm not going to pay $5,000. Then guess what happens? You get violenced. You can be subject for arrest. You can face permanent, these guys who get their license can face permanent closure. But for just you selling cherry wine, you're going to get arrested. The cops are going to come to your house, say, do you have a license? Do you have our permission? Do you have our permission to sell that? You have to have their permission. How is that free? How are you free? When you have to go ask 3 different agencies, you have to get a business license from the governor, from the state, from the county, from the city. You have to get a liquor license from the state, from the county. You have to get an operating permit from the city. How are you free? How are you free? You're not free. And how do they control you? How do they make you get a liquor license? How do they make you get a business license? How do they make you get an operating permit? That's right, through violence. And then when they want you to close, guess what? You will close. You will close. It doesn't matter how much money you've put into your business. Doesn't matter how many people you've paid off. Doesn't matter how many operating licenses you have. When they decide you're doing the wrong thing according to them, you're not doing the right thing according to them, once again, because they make the conditions, they'll shut you down. They'll shut you down. Mayor Jim Kenney in, I think this is somewhere in New Jersey or Philadelphia. Mayor Jim Kenney ordered for all non-essential business to shut down by 5 p.m. They're all shut down because the mayor said to shut them down. The whole state is going to be shut down because this guy says shut it down. You have a whole country in Italy shut down because, quote unquote, officials say shut it down. Just think about how ridiculous this idea is. Just think about it. This guy right here is going to decide for you, for everybody in a whole state, millions of people. He's going to make a decision for this guy's going to make a decision for millions of people. How can he do it? How can he know what's good for literally millions of people? If you ask this guy to order 5 people he didn't know, say order 5 people you don't know, order them lunch. Just something very simple. Just order them something to eat. Just get them something to eat. 5 people you don't know. You think he could do it? Of course not. One person might be vegetarian, one person might have allergies, one person might be gluten-free, one person might be nothing but on a keto diet, one person might be on a low-calorie diet. You don't know. He would not know. He would have to go in and ask them multiple questions to figure out what to order them, where they like to eat, what their favorite restaurant is, what kind of food they eat. Would they be okay with this? Would they be? No. So how can he know what's right for millions of people when he can't even order 5 people he doesn't know lunch, but he can order millions of people he doesn't know to do exactly what he wants? That is the arrogance of the Black Death cult. That is the absolute sheer arrogance of the Black Death cult, to believe they're superior to you, they know what's right for you, and they know how to make you do what they want you to do for the good of you, supposedly, when it's really for the good of him. It ain't for the good of you, it's for the good of him. There's actually some people here who are questioning. Local political leaders disagree. This guy, Caballo, says he doesn't agree. When government tells you that you cannot open your business and it's a private business, I think government has gone way too far. You can't operate your business. But the key there is, in my opinion, is in the beginning is you already can't operate your business. You already can't operate your business because if you don't get a license from this guy, if you don't get you can't operate it anyway. So The caballo guy saying, hey, when they step in and say you can't operate your business, they've already gone too far. Well, they've already gone too far from step one, because they're telling me I can't sell cherry wine without their license. I can't sell cherry wine without their liquor license. I can't sell cherry wine without their operating permit. So they're already telling you from the get-go what to do. 100%. You don't make the conditions here. I do. You don't make the conditions here in my state. I do. So every single day that you're in this country where they're telling you you're free, you're not free. I'm not free. Every single day when an official is telling you how to behave, you're not free. Every single day when your boss tells you how to behave, you're not free. Every single day that you're under the threat of anybody, lawyers, judges, anybody who calls himself an official, they're violent individuals and they will violence you. This guy will violence you. Even though this guy's opposing what Pritzker says, Senator Dave Syverson, 35th District Republican, he's a violent individual. He'll call the cops on you in 1 second and have you beat. He just doesn't agree with his constituent right now, but when it comes down to agreeing whether or not you need to be controlled, he's 100% in. Once again, controlled by a violent individual. Mayor Jim Kenney, violent individual. Jim, if you open after 5 p.m., what's going to happen? We're going to send in the cops. SanFrancisco.gov. Health officers, violent individuals. Once again, another governor, violent individual. Same governor, violent individual. They're all violent individuals, and they're controlling you with violence. Florida governor, violent individual. Stay off the beach. You can't go on the beach. The message, I think, for spring breakers at the party, you're not going to be able to congregate on any beach in the state. So in the whole state, this guy has said, you can't go onto the beach. You can't do this. You can't participate in a free activity of just going down to the beach. You can't do it. So now, when you're not under quarantine by the governor, when you're not, hold on a second. He said every single beach in the Sunshine State will have to abide. Abide. What does that mean? Abide. Why do I have to abide? Because if you don't abide, the governor's going to call in the cops and beat you. If you don't abide, the governor's going to call in the cops and arrest you. Take away your freedom, your supposed freedom. So now, when you are partying on the beach, how free are you? If the guy can shut down the beach and tell you not to go onto it anytime he wants to, could he have done it yesterday? Absolutely. Could he have done it 2 weeks ago? Absolutely. Could he have done it a month ago? Sure. Could he have done it 5 years ago? Of course he could have. So how free are you? You're not free. I'm not free. These people on the beach are not free. We're all operating under the control of the Black Death cult every single second of every single day. And that control is done using the threat of violence, you have to abide. The threat of violence, you have to abide. That's a threat of violence. Into violence. If you don't abide, we'll call the cops on you. And then if that doesn't work, they'll threaten you with death, and then they'll kill you. So they start off with threatening you with violence, then they go into violence. Then if that doesn't work, they threaten you with death, or they kill you. It's that simple. That's their whole mode of operation. When you look at the 10% of people that are controlling the world, Okay? That's their whole modus operandi. That's it. That's the only thing they've got. That's the only thing this guy's got is violence. That's the only thing the guy's got who shut Jim Stakes down is violence. It's the only thing this guy has is violence. That's all he's got is violence. That's it. Because if it wasn't for violence, why would you listen to this guy? Why would you care what he had to say? You wouldn't. But because he's willing to violence you via this massive force, massive, huge force of violent individuals, and cops are the worst. They are the most violent individuals, some of the most violent individuals. Army guys, Air Force guys, Marines, they can be more violent than cops. But cops are some of the most violent individuals on the planet. And if you don't listen to this guy, he will violence you via these guys. So that's all they have. That's the only thing they have to keep you listening to what he has to say is violence. And he knows he has you. He knows. This guy knows he has violence on his side. Let's make this clear. You don't make the conditions here. I do. Why? Because I'm willing to violence you. You don't have a force behind you that's going to violence me. I know that for a fact. So it doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't matter how you act. It doesn't matter what you're doing. I make the conditions, not you. I make the conditions, not you. I make the conditions, not you. Mayor Jim Kenney, makes the decisions, not you. I make the decisions, not you. I make the decisions, not you. So how are you free? You're not. You're living under complete control. And as of now, there's no end in sight. There's no end in sight. The party is over.